Good morning, everyone. I'm Joy Chen. I'm a smoke damage survivor and executive director of the Eaton Fire Survivors Network. I'd like for you to look around at this group behind me. All of these survivors. These are the people whose homes you watched burn 1 year ago, for days and for weeks. 1 year in, what we are living through is a K-shaped recovery. At the top of the K, recovery has begun for two groups: families who had wealth before the fire, and the lucky few, like me, whose insurance actually paid what it owed. Everyone else has been stuck at the bottom of the K. For those families, every day since the fire has not brought relief. It has brought more loss. Yes. Retirement savings drained, credit cards maxed, crushing debt just to keep a roof overhead. Let me be very clear. Families are not failing at recovery. Recovery is failing survivors.
Amen. Yes. Amen.
History tells us exactly how this happens. Whether a family is able to get back home or is displaced permanently comes down to one thing: money. The Los Angeles Times studied the 5 major California fires before this year, 2025. Tens of thousands of homes burned between 2017 and 2020. 8 years later, only 38% had been rebuilt. So who actually gets, we have built a survivor-led community with elected leaders, nonprofit, faith partners, and each other. This community exists for one reason: to make sure that in Los Angeles, recovery is not reserved for the wealthy. To build a future where every Eaton and Palisades fire survivor can get back home. And you know what? When survivors moved together, something amazing happened. The money started to move. In just the first year since the fire, our community unlocked over $100 million in delayed insurance payments, and more is coming. There are 3 sources that each owes survivors tens of billions of dollars: Edison, insurance companies, and the federal government. Today is about unlocking the billions of dollars that families are owed so that every Eaton and Palisades fire survivor can get back home. This year has been the hardest year of our lives. Unimaginable grief. The 31 people who died that day, and the hundreds who have died prematurely since. Homes lost, jobs lost, income lost, a sense of safety and identity stripped away. Local mental health providers are reporting rising suicidal ideation, not because families stopped trying, but because recovery has been delayed, denied, and withheld. And yet, something powerful has happened. More than 10,000 survivors and allies came together through the Eaton Fire Survivors Network and said, "We reject a future where only the wealthy get to come back home." Yes. So we connected and we coordinated. Here's what we have planned for today. You'll hear from survivors who will show you what recovery looks like on the ground right now. You'll hear from elected leaders who will explain what they are doing to meet this crisis. And you'll see how survivors have already moved real money and why tens of billions of more must move to get families back home. After we speak, all speakers will be available for questions from the media. And then, what many of you have been waiting for, survivors here today standing behind me will be available for one-on-one interviews to share their stories in their own words. I want to start today by introducing Rose Robinson. Rose's family history is woven into Pasadena and Altadena. If you've been to Pasadena City Hall, you've seen the Robinson statues. Rose's uncle, Jackie Robinson, faces east because he left here for New York, where he broke the color barrier in Major League Baseball and have inspired generations of Americans ever since. Rose's father, Mac Robinson, faces Pasadena City Hall because after winning Olympic silver, he chose to come home and build a life of service right here. Today, Rose Robinson, Aunt Rose to so many here in our community, stands here. She is a tenant, a mother, and she is still displaced 1 year later. Her story shows that even deep roots and generations of contribution do not protect families when systems fail. Rose?
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Thank you. Good morning.
Rose doesn't have a lot of experience giving speeches, and so I'll be asking Rose a sorry. I'll be asking Rose a few questions that she can answer. Rose, tell us, how has losing everything impacted you?
It's hard. I can't even explain my loss. I saw my house burn, but I can't explain losing everything. So I live down the street from the fire department in Altadena. And when I left, we left because of smoke and the wind, because the fire was up in the mountains.
Yeah.
And I just closed the door, had my work bag, and that was it. And when I went back a few hours later, I saw my house burning. And so we lost my son and I, my youngest son and I, we lost, everything. Memories. I had Daddy's suitcase from when he was in the Olympics. I had just, my Uncle Jackie stuff that you get when I was little. So much, pictures and my own children's, baby pictures.
Yeah.
Just everything.
Can you tell us about what your life has been in the past year?
I felt like my feet have not been on the ground. I felt like I'm moving in a cloud. It feels so unreal. I've had to, when the fires first happened, I stayed at a friend's house, and then at my son's house, and then I had the urgency to get up and go, just in a nervous, panic kind of mode. And a lot of people didn't understand family, and that's okay because I had to survive it.
Yeah.
And then I found a place in Pasadena, and then the landlord gave out my information, so I had to move again. And so it's just been really, really hard.
I think that you shared with me that you've lived in like 6 or 7 different places, and then your car was all full of belongings. Can you tell us about that?
So when I was, I went back to work about 2 weeks later, and a lot of the clothes and items that my son and I got were given. We had gotten it from donations from the different hotels we were staying in. And so my car just was packed, and I was literally driving around with a packed car going from motel to motel or to a friend's house or to my son's house. And then working. I was just in that panic, kind of, like I can't sit still.
Yeah. And you told me that the stress put you in the hospital?
So I had to go for breathing because I couldn't breathe. And then one time I got up one morning and I couldn't move my arm. So I'm back down at the hospital, and because I've been so many times and the doctors have seen so many patients, so many people from this fire, that my arm wasn't moving. So I ran all kind of tests to make sure I wasn't having like a heart attack or a stroke or anything. And my arm just locked. Yeah. And so I had to stay in there for about 3.5 days. And it feels better now, but then it was just like that was my organ of expression.
Yeah.
You know, upset stomach and my arm. I could not move my arm for like
And
a
the
week.
doctors were telling you that they've seen so many different
Yes.
stress-related ailments, right?
Yes.
You're not alone in this sense.
No.
Yeah.
And anytime you were not feeling good for whatever reason, mainly because of this, please go to the ER. Please go to urgent care. Don't let other people tell you, oh, it's all in my head because I saw it, because I lived it. But please go seek out medical attention. It is so important, because not being able to move my arm and my shoulder could have snowballed into something else. So go. That's why they're there, and they're so wonderful at well, I went to Huntington. I love Huntington, but any medical facility, please
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Please go get checked out.
That's an important message. Thank you. And now you're still out on disability from
Yes.
all of this stress-related
Yes.
cascading impacts.
Yes. So
No. Yeah.
I'm sorry. So I was just, mine has been, I've been having dreams. I would have dreams of people on fire. I would have dreams of my family gathering, and then like a firework, poof, they're on fire, they're gone. My mom passed away a few years ago, and I would have dreams of her. We're arguing about something, but then it's like there's a ball of fire.
Yeah.
Not being able to sleep. I mean,
Yeah.
it's beyond words.
Now, regarding how you move forward and how you get the funds that you need to move forward, Edison has proposed $25,000 in total for tenants like you who've lost everything. Is that enough to help you completely recover and move forward?
$25,000 is literally like 25 cents. I mean,
Appliances.
it barely, yeah, and that's not even one good appliance, probably. So no, that's not enough.
Yeah.
That's not enough.
Okay. Rose, thank you so much for
Thank you.
your courage, for sharing this story. We are all standing with you.
Thank you.
When you're out. I mean, it's obvious that the suffering that you faced is not yet over.
Yeah.
And we're here with you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much for
Thank
coming
you.
out
Thank
and
you.
trusting us with your
Thank
story.
And now you get your phone back.
I think what we're seeing here is that families who are already the most financially vulnerable, it doesn't matter how much your family has given to our city, to our world, none of that will protect you in the wake of this fire. What this fire has done is to force impossible choices for families. Families who are the most financially vulnerable are being forced to accept Edison's offer, not necessarily because it is fair, but because they are desperate. We are watching families trade away their future just to keep a roof overhead for a few more months. Next, I would like to introduce you to Ada Hernandez, a total loss homeowner who lost everything. Ada?
Thank you. Thank you for being here. November 26, 2018 is a date forever etched into my heart. It holds two moments that changed my life in opposite ways. It is the day my firstborn child died. It is also the day we were handed the keys to our home. That home was meant to be a symbol of survival, a place where we could keep going after unimaginable loss, a place where my husband and I would raise our children while carrying our son's memory with us. It was where I kept the few irreplaceable pieces of him I had left, fewer than 10 items, priceless beyond words. That home was burned down by the fire that Edison caused. When the house burned, I didn't just lose walls and furniture. I lost my last physical connection to my son. I lost a sense of safety and stability that home represented. Losing our home meant losing our independence, our routines, our sense of normalcy. My children never even finished opening all the Christmas gifts they received in 2024. Those small moments of joy were swallowed up by trauma and displacement. The fire didn't only take what we owned, it took pieces of our relationships too. Our days now revolve around what the fire destroyed, what must be replaced, and what can never be recovered. Unless you have lived through something like this, it is impossible to fully understand how consuming it is. The gap in understanding has created distance between us and people we once felt close to. For the past 2.5 months, the Salvation Army has helped us keep us off the streets by providing an Airbnb. For that, we are deeply grateful, but that support ends January 14th. Starting in just 1 week, next Wednesday, our housing will expire. After that, my husband and I, our 2 small children, and our dog, we may have to live in our car. At the same time, we're expected to keep paying a mortgage on a home that no longer exists, while also somehow finding rent after our insurance housing coverage has been exhausted. This is heartbreak layered upon heartbreak. This is why the coalition's urgent housing proposal matters. It would keep families like mine from living in our cars. To keep us housed while we rebuild. It would give our family, our children, stability instead of more trauma. It would give us the ability to focus on recovery instead of survival. Edison caused this fire. Advancing urgent housing relief is not charity. It is their basic responsibility. A roof overhead is the minimum foundation required for us to move forward and rebuild our lives. Thank you. Thank you, baby.
I want to tell you a little bit more about Ada Hernandez, whose story you just heard. Ada's husband is a lineman with the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power. It's a good union job. They were homeowners. They had insurance. Before the fire, this is a solid middle-class family in Altadena. But what happened was their insurance housing coverage, which should last 2 or 3 years, unfortunately expired a couple of months ago. And that's because this fire didn't just decimate homes, it decimated affordable housing in the area, causing rents to double or triple. That's why the amounts of money that were set aside for housing coverage in our contracts are expiring right now. As a result, Ava and her family, who are totally okay living the American dream on January 6th, are now facing homelessness in 1 week. They are looking at living in their car on January 14th, when the Airbnb that the Salvation Army gifted them for 2 months expires. This is why a broad civic coalition of representing 40,000 residents, 250 local nonprofits, philanthropy, led by Miguel Santana of the California Community Foundation, and 150 faith leaders have come together to call on Edison to advance urgent housing relief for all families who are displaced. To tell us a little bit more about that proposal, please welcome one of our community's pillars, Christy Zamani. Christy is the CEO of Day One. There's Christy. Christy is someone who inspires me so much. She leads Day One, which is one of the major housing agencies in the area, and has done so for decades, almost 2 decades. And she is also on the Leadership Council of the Eaton Fire Collaborative, which is the group of 200 nonprofits in the area working on the recovery, of which our group is one, and whose home we're in right now. Please welcome Christy.
Thank you, Joy. Good morning, everyone. You know, I think that it's hard to stand here and not just acknowledge how humbled I am to be in the presence of everyone standing shoulder to shoulder. And it is the survivors who every step of the way since this happened last year have shown up in meeting rooms, weekend hours, evening hours, working tirelessly despite what they're going through to show up for the community to move this forward. It's not a tagline when we say we're the heroes we've been waiting for. It really is the truth. And it's humbling because I did not lose my home to the fire. But as a Pasadena resident and someone who served this community for the past 20 years, I know so many friends and loved ones who have been directly affected. I remember sitting at the table distributing grocery gift cards, sending them, mailing them to friends, knowing that they would never show up to ask for help because we are the people that always say, somebody else needs it more than me. Yeah. That's my community. They're the ones that say, them before me. All the givers and helpers were affected by this fire. The fire didn't just take away homes. It destroyed communities. It took lives. Some of the last remaining affordable housing, as has been mentioned, was destroyed in a moment. Like Joy said, rents didn't just double and triple. I was displaced, but I remember staying up all night trying to find every rental unit I could find to place on our home guide, knowing our families need emergency housing. And again, our families don't want to live in Long Beach or somewhere else. They want to be close. People need to understand that. So when we work with national agencies saying, oh, that is 30 miles. 30 miles is a whole different life for us. You've already lost your home. You don't need to lose your community, right?
Yes.
And if you talk to any survivor, they will tell you, I miss my neighbors. I miss walking my dog. It's the moments, it's the things that people need to fill their heart, to feel connected. That's what I feel every time we're all in this room together. It's a moment to see each other, hug each other, and say, I'm still with you, and I'm not going anywhere until you find your way back home. So now think to yourself, I've been listening to all of you, and it's just bringing up so many emotions, but we know survivors that have moved between 10 to 15 Airbnbs, from hotels to motels to trailers. Just take a drive up and you'll see it, to their cars. I had a 16-year-old kid show up in my office saying, I'm looking for Christy because they told me she might be able to help me find a job. And I'm like, what's going on? It's like, we lost our apartment, we're living in a trailer, and this was during summer, and the heat was like 96 degrees. And he's like, I don't know what to do to help my mom. We don't have electricity in the trailer. These are the stories. These are not numbers. These are people having real life experiences. And we can't act like it's nothing and it's okay. It's been a year and we're not where we should be. I'm embarrassed to say that. We're fighting as much as we can, but we're not where we should be. Now think to yourself, how can someone complete paperwork, think of rebuilding, take care of their children, hold down a job, and they don't even know where they're going to sleep tonight? Can you do that?
No.
How long can you do that for? I'm sure somebody's gone out of town, I know I have, without saying, well, find a hotel when we get there and there's nothing and you're losing your mind. Now imagine doing that for a year.
Yeah.
That's a lot. So I want to tell our survivors, my friends, you're not alone. We're not going anywhere. We're in this fight for the long run. We are committed to making sure you have a path back home. I know it hasn't been easy, and I know it's still not easy, but we're going to get there. This is not just unfair, it's unacceptable that our survivors have to go through this. The protections Edison already enjoys through the Wildfire Fund mean that providing urgent housing relief would cost the company nothing. Nothing. This is no extra cost to them. And yet, what it can do is prevent mass homelessness. Can we agree that that's the bare minimum that our community deserves?
Yes.
We are simply asking Edison to do the same as what other utility companies have done. This is not just about laws and regulations. This is about people, mothers, fathers, children, our elders. It's what kind of community and what kind of society we want to be. It's about humanity, right? At the end of the day, what kind of people are we? And I think this is the moment that we need to show up. The communities are waiting, and we don't want to wait one more day. Not till tomorrow, not next week. This needs to happen now. So thank you all. We're in this. Thank you, Joy.
Thank you, Christy. Sorry about that. A lot of papers here. So So today we're talking about three different groups that each owe us tens of billions of dollars. And the first one was Edison. The second is insurance. Insurance was supposed to be the safety net that helped families get home after a disaster. Instead, for too many of us, delays and underpayments have become a wrecking ball. Today, 70% of insured Eaton and Palisades fire survivors report that insurance delays, denials, and underpayments are actively blocking their recovery. This problem is not a glitch in the system. It is the system at many companies. So shortly after the fire, survivors came together through the Eaton Fire Survivors Network Discord. We organized into recovery channels, about 50 of them, including a separate channel for each insurance company. And within weeks, a disturbing truth emerged. Whether a family was recovering or not depended largely on one thing: which insurance company they had. For families insured by the worst performing companies, the trauma compounded day after day. In April, at the 100-day anniversary of the fires, survivors held a press conference calling on Insurance Commissioner Ricardo Lara to hold State Farm accountable for fulfilling its contracts to Eaton and Palisades fire survivors. That same day, State Farm raised its contents payout without the list from 50% to 65%, just for Eaton and Palisades fire survivors. That single change meant $90 million finally reached families who had been waiting for months. But the late delays did not stop. So we documented nearly 500 firsthand accounts from Eaton and Palisades fire survivors of illegal delays, underpayments, and denials, and what became known as the State Farm files. I'll show it to you. When Commissioner Lara still failed to act, we brought all that evidence to Los Angeles County Supervisor Catherine Barger. Immediately, she launched a formal county investigation into State Farm's handling of Eaton and Palisades fire claims. That very day, everything changed. Claims that had been illegally denied for nearly a year suddenly got approved. Checks that had been stalled for months suddenly started moving. One of those people that money finally reached is Mark Mariscal. Around Altadena, Mark is known as Mr. Altadena. I think that many of us can agree that he is our #1 leader in community service. It would take a long time for me to list all of his accomplishments. Mark is currently chair of the Altadena Library Foundation. He's on the Rotary Board. He's on the Altadena Builds Back Foundation, and many other things. Mark is always available to help large and small. I contacted Mark earlier this week and said, can you bring coffee and refreshments to this event? Done. Mark is also a grandfather. He's also guardian to his grandchildren. Imagine being retired, suddenly parenting again, and then losing everything. Most people might become angry or bitter or retreat inward. Mark has done the opposite. Mark is always showing up. He's always building community. After the county investigation launched, Mark finally received $346,000 from State Farm. For the first time, getting back home became possible for Mark and Paula and their grandchildren. Here's Mark's story.
Thank you, Joy, but if I'm anywhere close to #1, everybody here is 1.1111 because we are all in it together. Ya estamos juntos, todos nosotros estamos juntos allá en esta lucha. Look, I've just got to say, I should not have been pushing my insurance company as hard as I had to do. For them to tell me that they can rebuild my house at $670,000 for 2,000 square feet. I said there was no way. And they said, well, when you get a contractor, I said, how am I going to get a contractor if I can't even get my architect to decide how we're going to build our house if I don't have enough money? We were blessed. I want to say that again. We were fortunate and we were blessed to have an insurance agent 2.5 years ago tell us for $120 more we could get 50% coverage of escalation inflation, 50% more for permit upgrade. People don't know that. And so a lot of people, at least 80% of these homeowners, property owners, are really being shortchanged in a sense. One, maybe from their agent, two, from the insurance company. And so when I told Joy, and she said, was it after November 13th? I said, heck yeah. I spent 3 months back and forth with my insurance adjuster, the fourth one, going back and forth saying, look, your 90 pages of how to build my house, I had 2 companies send them kind of rougher estimates, and it took 3.5 months, but I got to tell you, it probably happened after November 13th, because right before Thanksgiving, we got the notice, and then the check came 2 weeks later. But families should not have to be going through that. The insurance company should be, one, realizing that you are not going to build any single family home using Title 24 for less than $400, $450 a square foot. It is not going to happen. And so those insurance companies, I push you today to consider that those of you that have additional limits for those people that you're working with, get your adjusters to sweep it off the table and pay all of us the money that we need so that we can say to an architect, you now can build at least to what I had instead of having to go 20% less than what we had. So that's what we're really here to. My story today is that they have the capacity to do so, and they should do it. So nada más unas palabras que tiene que decir la aseguranza, todas las compañías de aseguranza tiene que dar todo el apoyo que pueden hacer a todos nosotros. So I know, Joy. Red sign. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. And he's absolutely right. They could pay. You know, after this county investigation launched, suddenly my texts were filled with people who had gotten checks FedEx to their house for $2 million, $200,000 suddenly arriving that they had been fighting for up to 10 months. And several of them told me that their adjusters specifically told them that upstairs said, it's time that changed their guidance and said, be lenient now, pay out the claims, because of the pressure that came from survivors and from the county, especially the county investigation that launched. So when all these checks started flowing in, we suddenly realized something. You know, for months we've been thinking, well, maybe this company doesn't have the infrastructure to pay. Maybe they only have the infrastructure to collect premiums, not to pay out what they owe. But then when all these checks started coming in, we realized, like, wow, they could have paid all along. And they just needed the incentive to do so. So next I want to bring up the leader who made that happen. Survivors have been in close partnership with many of our elected leaders. This particular one I am particularly grateful for. She is a personal friend, I'm proud to say, and she's had a lifetime of service. Not only has she been our county supervisor for all these years, but before that, she worked for decades for Supervisor Antonovich, our previous supervisor. Catherine, Supervisor Barger, has had a lifetime of service to our community. And you know, I'm just so grateful that we were able to call on her for help after all of these months of not being able to get our insurance payments, after all these months of inaction from our state regulators, that she stepped up and made this possible.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. I think the word humbled is putting it mildly. This is an incredibly emotional day for me, and I did not lose my home. Reliving what happened a year ago is devastating, and devastating for those that woke up knowing that they had nothing to go home to. So to each and every one of you survivors, who I see more than I see my home, I love you, and I am here for the long haul to make sure that you are made whole. Especially you, young lady.
I know you are.
That's right. That's right. And I want to thank the Eaton Fire Survivors Network for bringing us all together this morning. Joy, I told the insurance commissioner, don't underestimate Joy. This is a woman who not only will provide you with information, but she'll document it. So the footnotes are what you need to look at. The footnotes are not innuendos about what is perceived to be happening. There's facts behind it, and you provided those facts. So my admiration for you runs deep. Yeah. And I want to say that today we do honor the undeniable and unrelenting strength and endurance of this incredible community called Altadena. 1 year after the Eaton Fire, recovery is still very much a work in progress. Many families remain displaced, and we know the insurance process has been more difficult and time-consuming than anyone should have to endure. And I wouldn't say lenient, they need to do their job.
Yeah, that's right.
Most people get fired for not doing their job. What continues to stand out, though, is how engaged and organized survivors have been. Do not underestimate the strength of our survivors, pushing systems and refusing to accept the status quo. Over the past year, we've made real progress together. Joy, you have been the driving force who has made sure these issues were forefront and that we didn't forget. The incredibly detailed accounts that the Eaton Fire Survivors Network put together has brought light to the challenges so many residents have faced. And by the way, the system has been broken for a long time. And now the people suffering are the survivors. It's on the back of the survivors that the light has been shed on how broken this insurance industry is in the state of California and probably nationally as well. This information was instrumental in our ability to launch an investigation into State Farm's practices. And we're not going away. Just because some checks were cut doesn't mean we are going away. Yeah. While the regulation of insurance companies and marketplace falls to the state, I have promised to use the county's power and authority whenever possible to help our survivors. We will continue to investigate the information we receive to ensure that survivors do not face any unnecessary hurdles any more than they already have, and delays to get the compensation that they deserve. Hear that? They deserve. This is not a handout. They paid in. It's time for the others to pay out. We will continue to take action and unlock the resources necessary to rebuild. Since the onset of this disaster, I have been focused on improving coordination, streamlining rebuilding pathways, and staying closely engaged with survivors to address challenges in real time. I'd like to take a moment to thank our state partners for their collaboration in service to this community. Senator Perez and Assemblymember Harabadian, thank you. Make no mistake, they've been engaged on this issue and have taken action in Sacramento to address the challenges our community is facing. I couldn't do it without them. These efforts matter, and they show the collaboration leads to tangible results. Do you hear that, Washington? Collaboration leads to tangible results.
Right.
Recovery is not the responsibility of any single agency or level of government. It is only possible when survivors, local leaders, the county, and the state all move in the same direction. In 2026, I promise to keep this momentum going. That means supporting families as they work to rebuild, remediate their homes, as you did, Joy, and find stability in their rebuilding and recovery journey. As others have said, so many are facing gaps in their ability to rebuild. It is incumbent upon us to press for fairness, accountability with insurance practices. but it also means ensuring all levels of government are deploying the critical resources and funding we need to rebuild our community. Don't change the rules in the middle of the game. The scale of needs dwarfs the resources the county and the state have already provided. I look forward to working with my colleagues in Washington, D.C., if you're listening, to bring supplemental disaster aid to Los Angeles County. And I will say, this is not about politics, party, or partisanship. This is about ensuring that survivors receive the support that they deserve. To the survivors here today, thank you for your partnership, for your honesty, and also for your determination, especially you young men. My commitment remains the same: to listen, collaborate, and to keep this moving forward. I am proud of what we've accomplished together, but I know we've got a lot of work ahead of us, and I stand ready to work with each and every one of you to make it happen. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Supervisor Barger. So we have started to unlock real money, but there is so much more work to be done, as the supervisor just said. We are owed still tens of billions of dollars from insurance, and without that money, this recovery will not be able to be complete. To understand why many families are still stuck, you need to see how illegal insurance conduct actually works. Claire Thompson, is Claire here, is here to show us exactly how delays and underpayments block recovery. And she brought all the receipts. Claire? Hi. Yeah, I'll hold this.
My name is Claire, and I am a homeowner and artist living in Altadena. My family and I have been paying insurance premiums for nearly 10 years, first as renters, then as homeowners. Shortly after the Eaton Fire contaminated our home in January, our insurance adjuster walked through our home and told us clearly our house needed to be taken down to the studs. We later received a 21-page report confirming this assessment. Then a new adjuster took over, and everything changed. We were told it had been sent in error, and our home could simply be wiped down. There is no new evidence, no new testing, no explanation. It has now been 1 full year since the Eaton Fire, and no one from our insurance company has returned to investigate our home. This is an illegal delay. California law is clear. Insurers must respond within 15 days and accept or deny a claim within 40 days of receiving proof of loss. This envelope contains emails from multiple insurance-assigned contractors who withdrew from our claim after we asked for basic credentials and safety protocols. Each time, our insurance company simply assigned a new vendor and restarted the cycle. This is how delay works: quietly, repeatedly, and without accountability, until families are exhausted. But delay isn't the only tactic being used against us. The estimates that determine what families are owed are being rewritten behind closed doors. An estimate is a document that determines what work will be done and how much the insurance company will pay. Families rely on these estimates to know whether their homes can even be made safe again. In our case, the first estimate confirmed our home needed to be taken down to the studs. That estimate was later replaced with a reduced version claiming our home only needed surface cleaning, even though the underlying evidence had not changed. This is a report from a certified industrial hygienist documenting lead in our home at more than 800 times the EPA limit, along with beryllium, arsenic, and cyanide. Our insurance company paid for this testing and then ignored it. This is university laboratory testing showing that our fabrics and other porous items absorb toxic VOCs, including benzene and formaldehyde. Ignored. These are manufacturer letters from appliance manufacturers stating that contaminated products must be replaced, not cleaned. Ignored. And these are peer-reviewed sources from the World Health Organization, EPA, OSHA, and DTSC showing that contaminated materials cannot be safely cleaned. Ignored. The evidence did not change. The science did not change. What changed was the estimate. We did everything right. We paid our premiums, we followed the rules, and we trusted the system. Now the system needs to follow the rules. No more delays, no more backroom rewrites. Epstein and Palisades families cannot rebuild on paperwork games. We rebuild with accountability.
Thank you so much, Claire. Survivors did not stop with collecting all of this evidence. We took this evidence to our lawmakers, and I am so honored to introduce the next speaker, who, from the very beginning, the first time we brought this to her, she immediately jumped up, and she has been our guardian angel, our protector. We are so grateful that as a freshman senator who was appointed like 2 seconds before this fire, she's jumped in and had our back from the very beginning. She, as a freshman senator, she has been a superstar. She has been tirelessly and powerfully working on our behalf in every respect. We are so grateful to have her as our ally and champion, Senator Sasha Renee Perez.
Good morning. It is such an honor to be in community here today with such incredible community leaders, with fire survivors. And I just want to take a moment to recognize Joy Chen. Joy, you are a community hero. You are a force of nature. I am so honored to get to work with you and stand beside you. And I think you represent exactly what this community is about. So many of the people you see in this room have stepped up to stand up for their community. When systems failed, it was neighbors, it was community members that came together to support one another. And so I want to thank each and every person in this room that has done the hard work of supporting their neighbors, of showing people love despite facing so much devastation. And it is for that reason that we have been working so hard day in and day out to support you all through the recovery process, whether that's been passing bills to enhance tenant protections, because we know landlords were trying to tell tenants that they had to continue paying rent despite the fact that their units were damaged or burned. That's unacceptable. We've changed the law. We've expedited the process for the county to create an increment financing district so we can speed up the process of recovery. We are very proud to pass that. Supervisor Barger has taken that into action so we can get Altadena rebuilt as quickly as possible. And we're protecting our generational homeowners, making sure those that haven't transferred title are not held liable for back taxes. We have been busy at work. The investigation into state harm to hold these insurance companies accountable. And I want to emphasize something because there is a piece of this work that we are continuing to work on. I wrote a letter to the CEO of Southern California Edison, Pedro Pizarro, and have made it very clear that they need to provide emergency housing relief to the community of Altadena. The Edison CEO has recognized that it was likely their equipment that has caused this fire. Part of holding themselves accountable, part of them taking responsibility is providing the financial resources that this community needs to thrive. We cannot allow for another disaster to happen. We will not allow this community to fall into homelessness. Edison, you need to step it up. But But as was mentioned before, we have our work cut out from us. And you just heard from one of our Eaton Fire survivors, Claire, the games that are being played by these insurance companies, playing games with loss estimates and creating reductions that can sometimes exceed $100,000. And families never see the original numbers. And these reductions oftentimes are insufficient to cover the total damage or rebuilding costs. That's why we are introducing legislation SB 877 that will provide transparency and accountability to insurance claims. This legislation is going to require that insurance providers properly document and disclose all lost estimates documents, including changes to the policyholder. Those documents should not be kept in secret. You as the policyholder deserve the right to know, and you need to be able to hold your insurer accountable. Currently, insurance companies must retain all claim documents, but policyholders can't see them. This lack of transparency makes homeowners completely unaware of how the final insurance payout amount was calculated. In many cases, the homeowners see only the final edited version of the loss estimate from the insurer. So what's happening is insurers are altering, reducing, or entirely rewriting the original estimate to lower the insurance payout that the homeowner receives. This is another common practice that has been documented across several major disasters nationwide, from California to Florida. This tactic delays payments, exhausts survivors, and pressures families to settle for less than they are owed. No more. Our second bill that we'll be introducing, SB 878, is the Insurance Payment Accountability Act. This bill will stop the long wait many homeowners face when insurance claims are needlessly delayed. A Department of Angels survey of nearly 2,000 Eaton and Palisades survivors found 70% are experiencing delays or denials, which is blocking their ability to recover. My legislation would require automatic interest penalties of 20% paid to policyholders when insurance companies delay making decisions or issuing payments. We need to hold insurance companies accountable. This is a common tactic used by the industry. Eaton and Palisade wildfire survivors have learned that insurance companies do not have to deny a claim to devastate a family. They only have to delay it. Deadlines are routinely evaded through open-ended reviews, partial decisions, and claims labeled indefinitely as under investigation. Although such delays already violate California state law, and I want to make that clear, these are already illegal, there is no penalty. That lack of a financial consequence allows insurance companies to make this a routine business practice. By imposing a 20% interest penalty on delayed payments, SB 878 will reduce the financial incentive for insurance companies to delay coverage decisions. Wildfire survivors should be rebuilding instead of being stuck waiting on their insurance companies. As we know, there is still so much work to be done. This is only part of the work I'll be doing this year to help survivors recover and prevent future tragedies like the Eaton Fire. I want to assure you that one of the most important things I must do is to keep fire survivors centered in this upcoming state budget and policy conversations that will take place this year. Our state leaders made a commitment to help LA County recover, and we need to make sure that commitment remains strong. You all deserve nothing less than California's full support. And I want you to know I am inspired by the strength, by your voices, by your stories. I have no more important job than to represent each and every single one of you, and it is a damn honor to be able to represent the community of Altadena. Thank you all so much.
Wow. Thank you, Senator Perez. It is so exciting to be able to collaborate with such an amazing leader. And I do want to underline what she said, that these reforms that she is leading are not against the industry. They're against illegal conduct in the industry. They're all common sense things. And so this, we need a healthy and functioning insurance market in this state. And part of having a healthy and functioning insurance market is that companies have to follow the law. And we're grateful to have her and also Assemblymember John Harabedian in their commitment to holding insurance companies accountable so that we can recover. Assemblymember Harabedian has joined with us strongly in the fight this year to hold insurance companies accountable so that we can secure the insurance payouts that our families need to rebuild. Assemblymember Harabedian is also leading another effort, and it has to do with transparency around and accountability around the systems around our emergency evacuation systems that failed all of us here in Altadena. My own family happens to live in the area of West Altadena that was the last to receive an evacuation order at 5:46 a.m. After so many of our fellow Altadenans died, I know that every survivor here has a story and can tell you minute by minute, hour by hour, the terror that we lived through and the losses that we've had this year. Assemblymember Harabedian is here to ensure that we get answers and that next time there's a disaster, things will go better. Assemblymember?
Thank you, Joy. Let me just say that, Joy, we will say it many times. Thank you for everything. Thank you to the survivors, and to Senator Perez's words. It is a damn honor. It's a damn honor to represent this community where I grew up. And this fire a year ago happened on our second day on the job, second day in Sacramento. And I see my predecessor, Assemblymember Holden here, Senator Portantino, two of the most powerful legislators in the state of California. And this fire happened to come to our communities when there was two newbies on the job. And I think that you saw a lot of results happen because they thought they could take advantage of new people on the job. They thought that with a new assembly member and a new senator, maybe they could get away with things that they otherwise couldn't. But I'll tell you, they couldn't. And we've been fighting tooth and nail to ensure every survivor is taken care of. And all of us that are here today and those standing behind us, everyone's a little different. We are all obviously collectively tied to this tragedy that happened a year ago. But you heard from Rose, you heard from Ada, you heard from Mark, you heard from Claire. Everyone is dealing with different things. And we need to make sure that each survivor is listened to. And we will continue to do that. And I will say, 1 year later, we're obviously gathered here to remember the lives lost, 31 lives lost, and the devastation caused by the Eaton Fire and the Palisades Fire. But we honor our neighbors and our families and our community because it's been forever changed by what happened that night. And while time has passed, there's a lot of pain that remains. The emotion up here is real. It's anger. Many of us are laughing because if we weren't laughing, we'd be crying. And I think that we still, however, do not have questions answered as to what happened that night. And that's unacceptable. Altadena is not broken. Let me be very clear. Our community and our spirit is not broken. Our community strength did not burn away that night. It stands in the courage of the survivors behind me and those of you out there who are listening and here with us today, the resolve of the families rebuilding, and the shared determination to demand justice and accountability. And let's talk about justice and accountability. We still do not have answers as to what happened that night. How this fire started, we have a pretty good idea as to how the fire started, but we still don't have a definitive answer a year later. Unacceptable. We don't know why it spread so rapidly, why people were not evacuated, and why 19 of our neighbors and family members died. That is unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. Survivors deserve more than silence and uncertainty. They deserve the truth. The truth. And without the truth, there is not going to be trust. There's no accountability. And I know, because I talk to my neighbors and family members that are going through this every day, a lot of you have lost trust in government. A lot of you have lost trust in us. And I think that rightfully so. Rightfully so. As the chair of the Joint Legislative Audit Committee in Sacramento, I ordered an independent, state-led audit of the Eaton Fire. I demanded that months after the fire. It was approved in June. It is kicking off this week. We will have answers. We will have answers sooner rather than later. The audit is about transparency. It is about identifying what went wrong, holding systems accountable, and it's been said today, and ensuring that these failures never happen again. And that is something that can't be overstated. While truth and knowing what happened is important for all of us in this community, this will happen again. Other communities are going to be faced with this, and we need to ensure that no lives are lost, no home that shouldn't have burned, and that is why we are doing this. It is not optional accountability. It is essential. And accountability also means responsibility. You heard from many speakers today. Let's be clear. Edison must pay everything that they are liable for. No survivor. No survivor should bear the burden, financially or otherwise, of corporate negligence. And while you see incredible courage of survivors, this cannot just rely on the courage of our survivor network, of Joy Chen, of everyone up here. They are tired. People need to step up. It's a relay race. They say fire recovery is like dental work. It's painful, it takes a long time, you go bit by bit, but by the end, hopefully, the outcomes will be better. Well, we need all the parties that we just talked about, the insurance companies, Edison, everyone else to step up and do their job, because everyone else is doing theirs. I will say over the past year, my legislative work has been focused on fire recovery. We secured mortgage forbearance when no one said we were going to do that. When we introduced AB 238, we were told from everyone involved that you wouldn't do it, it would be illegal, the federal government will preempt you. We got it done. We signed it into law. We now have a year of mortgage forbearance. Ada, you should not be paying your mortgage while you're also paying your rent. You should not be denied mortgage forbearance. A lot of you who tried to get mortgage forbearance, they told you it would affect your credit score. You would have a lump sum payment. They would give you a loan modification. That is illegal. We passed that law. They can't do that to you. To the extent that anyone is telling you that, come to us. Come to our office. Come to Senator Perez. Come to Supervisor Barger. We will take care of that. We will continue to hold the financial institutions accountable. In terms of insurance payment delays, many of you had insurance checks that were sent to the banks from the insurance companies. The banks held on to those checks. We ensured that to the extent that any bank was holding on to your checks, you would be paid the money and the interest on that. We passed AB 493. I have no idea why they're holding your checks. They shouldn't do that. That's the next step. But to the extent that they held on to your money, you now get paid interest on it. If any of you aren't getting paid interest, AB 493 makes that illegal. This year, I will continue to fight the fights with my colleagues here, Senator Perez, Supervisor Barger, and many others, on things that we just mentioned. Underinsurance. For those of you who were lucky enough to have insurance, every single one of you was underinsured. You heard it from Mark Marosco. That is unacceptable. Many of you didn't know that you're underinsured. We are going to fix that. We are going to make sure that no one is being denied smoke damage claims. It is unbelievable what we're seeing. None of you will be trapped in limbo anymore. We will pass legislation to make sure that smoke damage claims are treated as the courts have told us they need to be treated. It is illegal what they're doing. It is actually illegal in the face of Supreme Court law here in California. I will also, again, just stand up to banks, any financial institutions who are denying you forbearance. I want to repeat this. It seems as though people don't know their rights. You should not be taken advantage of by banks on your mortgage. And we will continue to strengthen that law. No one who has lost their lives or livelihood should have to battle with these institutions just to breathe. Many of us are just trying to breathe. We're just trying to survive day to day. And it's really hard when people are taking advantage of you. Every survivor deserves clarity. Every family deserves answers. Every community like ours deserves a government that acts with transparency, integrity, and urgency. We will remember, we will demand answers, and we will rebuild, not just homes, but trust and a safer community that we all can live in. Again, Altadena remains unbroken. I'm going to keep saying that today. No one here is broken. We will come out of this better, and we're going to come through it together, and we will make sure that our community remains unheard no longer. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Assemblymember Harabedian. I just want to acknowledge the other elected officials who have honored us with their presence here today. We have Los Angeles County Assessor Jeff Prang. Where's Jeff? Pasadena Mayor Victor Gordo. Thank you. And then also our very own Altadena Town Council Chair, Nick Arnzen. Hometown hero. So we've talked about now Edison. We've talked about insurance. Both of those owe us tens of billions of dollars. To share with us about the federal government, I want to introduce not my old friend, my longtime friend, Miguel Santana, who is president and CEO of the California Community Foundation and has been leading the philanthropic response to this recovery. There's been a lot of talk about philanthropy in this recovery, and I know that many of us have spent a lot of time chasing after grants from philanthropy, and there are often questions asked like, well, how come I didn't get this grant? How come I didn't get that one? Where is this money that we're reading about in the newspapers? And I just want to be clear, you know, philanthropy generally operates in the hundreds of millions of dollars. Miguel has done an unbelievable job of raising money this year. But I read a report from the Center for Disaster Philanthropy in 2025, saying in the last year studied, which is 2023, across the United States, all philanthropies gave a sum total of $123 million to fire recovery, $123 million. But each of the entities we're talking about today owe us tens of billions of dollars. In order to make recovery possible for everyone, we need to be working in the tens of billions of dollars. Philanthropy cannot replace the role that Edison, insurance, and the federal government can play. Here to tell us about the philanthropic response and the role of the federal government, please welcome Miguel Santana.
Good morning, buenos dias. You know, Joy, everyone had to acknowledge you. In Spanish, we call you a chingona. And for those of you who do not know what that means, Joy, you are a badass. She deserves another round of applause. One year after the Eaton and Palisades fires, the flames are gone, but the recovery is frankly just beginning. Displacement, financial strain, and emotional uncertainty continue to define daily life, as we heard today. We center our work on the stories that you just heard today. And I was particularly moved by the story of Ada, a mother and a homeowner. Ada and her husband, Miguel, my tocayo, were able to achieve the American dream. Their determination to protect their children, navigate insurance, appeals, and remain rooted reflects the experience of thousands of families, as you're hearing today. As was stated, as a co-founder of the Department of Angels, we committed to do a quarterly survey of survivors, listening to 2,400 voices on a regular basis to kind of break through the noise and find out what is really happening to this community. Our latest report that we issued recently reflects the real reality. more than 7 in 10 survivors are still not home. Nearly half have exhausted their savings. Over 40% have taken out personal debt to survive. More than 80% report worsening mental health from prolonged uncertainty. The Milken Institute released a report earlier this week and made an analysis to define what the real gap is. Philanthropy raised $1 billion to support these wildfire survivors in aggregate. But the gap is over $50 billion just for housing. At the California Community Foundation, we acted immediately. We launched a wildfire recovery fund within hours of the disaster. 50,000 donors helped raise $100 million. Half of it has already been distributed to stabilize renters, homeowners, provide case management, environmental and legal guidance, sustain advocacy for fair insurance and federal relief. We've invested in hubs, tenant protections, and innovative financing models designed to unlock private capital to accelerate people's return back to home, as we did with the showcase here in Altadena. Philanthropy is built to respond first, innovate, and lift survivor voices, but not for the long term. The charitable sector cannot replace sustained federal investment required for housing, infrastructure, and community restoration. $50 billion is what is needed. And that is why we need at least $35 billion in reliable federal support now for housing, renters, schools, remediation, and long-term mental health. You know, one thing that is clear is that nobody thinks it happens to them until it does. And as Angelenos, as Californians, we support survivors of tornadoes, of floods, of hurricanes around the country. We give more in taxes as Californians than we receive. But now it is our turn. It is our turn to get the federal help that we are entitled to.
Amen. Yep.
When federal funding reaches survivors, families come home. When it doesn't, displacement becomes permanent. Government, philanthropy, business, and Edison must align around one goal: help families return safely, quickly, and with dignity together.
Yep.
On this 1-year anniversary, let's recommit ourselves as Angelenos to fighting for families like Ada's, to forging a response worthy of her courage, determination, and resolve.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nigel. In closing, none of us wanted this fight. We are already fighting for everything. Thank you. We're fighting for the insurance benefits we paid for already. We're fighting to keep our kids housed. We're fighting to keep our jobs intact or to look for a job. Because this fire not only destroyed homes, it destroyed the jobs and income for so many of us. We're fighting to keep our families from breaking apart. But this year, connection has turned to coordination. All of these survivors you see here. Coordination turned into money. $100 million of dollars have moved through philanthropy, through our unlocking of insurance payouts, but tens of billions are still owed to us. If year one has been a K-shaped recovery, then year two is about changing that shape so that recovery is no longer reserved for those with wealth. Edison must step up. Insurance companies must step up. And the federal government must step up. Disasters are accelerating across America. Wildfires, floods, hurricanes. If you're watching this, next time, this could be you. And if you live in America, if you pay your insurance premiums, if you pay your taxes, and you expect to get what you pay for, then this is your fight too. Stand with survivors. Help change the shape of recovery. You can learn more and get updates at efsurvivors.net. Unlocking the billions that we are owed is how America gets home after disaster. Thank you very much. So at this point, all the speakers here are available to take questions from the media. If you are here, you're a member of the media, and you have not received a printed copy of the press release, please raise your hand. The press releases have the correct spelling of the names of everyone who spoke today. Please raise your hand, and our team can get you a copy of the press release. And with that, we will have survivors here. In addition to the ones who spoke today, all our survivors are available for on-camera interviews. For those survivors who don't want to take an on-camera